Okay, so over the last 3 months, we've been going through due diligence, and we've been working with a wonderful firm who has like a whole team of specialists. And for the last 3 months, they've been examining the land. They've been conducting environmental assessments, geotechnical assessments, biological assessments, civil engineering assessments, all kind of assessments. And basically, to sum up a 295-page technical memorandum, like, it pretty much checks out.
Clap. You can clap today.
Which, by the way, I didn't even read through the whole thing. That would be Nicole and Peter. So they'll talk more about that a little bit. So basically, this past Monday, our wonderful board here convened and voted unanimously to go ahead with the purchase of the land.
3 big sadhus at that juncture. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And as many of you know who've been on the website recently, the very next morning, a final donation came through that closed the funding gap. So we are now fully funded thanks to the generosity of so many people in this room and on Zoom and around literally the whole world who have given dana. We are now fully funded to support the purchase of the land for Clear Mountain Monastery. So thank you all.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. So, today what might be one of the most important days we have in Clear Mountain's history. Foreshadowing. And I wanted to begin by sharing an image I've shared before. Some of you may recognize it, but it's the image I would like to bring today. Is an experiment that Gene Weingarten, a famous reporter, did where they invited Joshua Bell, one of the foremost violinists in the world, after playing in the Chicago Stadium for hundreds of dollars a ticket on a $100,000 Stradivarius, to busk the next day in a subway and to see what happened. And I watched the footage again last night. It's on YouTube. And he's playing there, and you just see for an hour people walking past. Maybe they'll glance over and just keep on moving. And you just wish you could make them realize what they're walking right past. And it's tragic. And he seems like a ghost. And then you realize that he's the only real one, and everyone else is a ghost. And then in the footage, after about 25 minutes or so, one woman stops with a grocery bag in front of him and just stands listening. And then another person stops 5 feet away, and then another and another. And you see, unbidden through this lobby of movement, a sudden architecture of faith forming, where each person, touched with silence and with a note that they hear in the midst of this day and the static and the neon buzz of modern life, becomes a pillar or a column in some temple, which only begins to emerge as you see this image coalesce after 25 and 30 and 35 minutes, all stewarded and invoked by this song. And over these last few years, this is what we've found here. If you look around you, this is the architecture of faith we've built and touched and created in a gym. And yet, the brightness that it represents, how this for many of us is, I know, what we think about during the week, where our hearts have come to rest, what we've circled around, and what our minds and hearts circled around. And for some of us, it's a beautiful note in the week. For others, it has been perhaps what literally saved us. The Dhamma is so many things to so many people, but above all, it is a refuge, and that is what the Buddha gave us in an open hand. And people have asked, moving up to this state of final due diligence with the land, are you excited? You must be excited. And that's the wrong word. Strangely, what's come up is last weekend, a friend, someone I know, the daughter of her friend, died in perhaps one of the most tragic ways I could imagine. And her family dissolved this last week in part, and my friend was broken open as well. But what's come to mind is that what we will have built and touched and created together, if we make this monastery, will be a refuge for so many beings. When land passes into the hands of the fourfold, the Sangha of the four directions, it becomes a monastery forever. At least, with the usual caveat of impermanence. But in perpetuity. And what we'll have created is a place that will serve as a refuge and a sanctuary for countless beings and generations, not for 10 years, not for 20, but hopefully for generations, hundreds, thousands of years. Who knows? Thousands might be, maybe. But this is what we hope, is that this land and this monastery will be a refuge for each of you to come to, close enough to the city where you can come in the mornings early, if you get up early enough to come for morning and evening morning chanting and meditation as the sun comes up, where you can come when the monks will go on alms round in North Bend, and one monk will stay back to answer questions and receive the meal at 9 or so, where then anyone who wants any day can come and offer the meal and share it with those they have come to care about, find a sense of quiet. Then you can stay, meditate in a temple we hope to have, which will be silent, or work in the garden. It will be a refuge where you can lay the ashes of your dead. We're hoping to have a columbarium where you can walk in the forest in quiet, where you can spend any day you have off just sitting, reading, where this can be a centerpiece for all of our lives. It will be a refuge for monastics to practice, a convergence, a place of convergence for bhikkhunis in the area, for monks. We hope to invite senior teachers. We hope eventually to have as many as 20 monks living and training there as well. And this is to say nothing of the non-human beings. At monasteries, you'll find the animals stop fearing humans. They'll come right up to you, which can be a bit intimidating with elk, I assume. As these years move on, this is what I found as the great missing puzzle piece in people's lives as the future comes, as all the unknowns manifest, to have a place you can come and find refuge, teachings. And I've seen again and again that this becomes the centerpiece around which a life can circle. And for all of you who have helped to make it happen, and will continue to. We rejoice in this moment. I think few of us have a chance to touch something this beautiful in our lives, and what a gift. And if you don't live in Seattle, consider visiting us and consider moving here. There's few things more precious to orient a life around than where you can have a community of practitioners like this. For my brother Ajahn Kovelo, I'm so grateful. He brings a depth and power to this whole project. For all of you who've helped bring this together, for all those who've supported it, and for some deep currents which have somehow stewarded us into this moment together, which, if you don't know the context of Theravada Buddhism in the world, is truly historic. Bhikkhunis, bhikkhus coming together, this spark of Dhamma in the West, and something growing, which hopefully we can help steward with careful hands over these coming years and a lifetime. So, Ajahn.
So I think most of you will know, because we pretty much talk about it every week, but this tomorrow, March 22nd, is the end of our 3 months of due diligence. So we put in an offer on 2 parcels of land, and tomorrow is the date that everything has to have come together by. And we'll have some announcements about that, some news on that in just a moment. But just, lingering in this space, grounding before there might be any kind of celebration or celebratory news, grounding before we raise the roof, so to speak. But it's important, that chant that we did, to many refuges they go, to mountain slopes and forest glades, but such a refuge is not secure, such a refuge is not supreme, such a refuge does not bring complete release from suffering. It's very true. There's no geographic cure to suffering. If there was, we would just all live in Hawaii, basically. But here we are, and that's true. We can't go anywhere else. But at the same time, you did have the Buddha in his last sermon, the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, say that as long as there are practitioners practicing in forests, so long there will be the Noble Eightfold Path and people realizing the Dhamma. The preface to most every sutta where the Buddha gives his most explicit advice on meditation, he gives this advice. We have it on page 86, the teachings on mindfulness of breathing. Here, a practitioner goes to the forest, to the foot of a tree, or to an empty hut. These things are supports. Some people, if you know one word of Thai, it might be sabai, sabai, sabai. Sabai means it's all good, it's all good. And it's a very Thai vibe, but it actually comes from the Pali sapaya, which means appropriate. And the Buddha used this word in talking about an external locality for our practice. We're looking for sapaya senasana, sapaya vihara, a place of living, a place of dwelling, a place of practice, which is sabai, which is sapaya, which is appropriate and conducive to practice. So hopefully we'll have that, and hopefully we can make that together. We can ground into that sense of refuge, and we can also raise up and feel into that spaciousness of delight, which is really, I think, an outstanding specific characteristic of Clear Mountain, is that there is that sparkle. There is that sparkle. We've got a lot of groundedness, but there's also lots of glimmers in eyes, and just it's a very unique thing we got going on here. And if we put down physical roots, then that'll instantiate itself. And there are Christian monasteries in Egypt, Buddhist monasteries in China, which are 1,700 years old, and who knows how long we might dig into the earth. Two fascinating concepts in the field of realty are ad inferos and ad silum, which are when you get a piece of land, the property ownership goes downward like a reverse pyramid down to the core of the earth. Goes down to the core of the earth. So we will have a whole pyramid, an underground pyramid of power, of refuge, and we'll have up into the sky ad silum, up to the heavens. think actually literally we only got up to like 83 feet or so. And then like planes, we can't build much higher than that. But in theory, we've got up to the heavens. So that's the delight, the spaciousness of our practice. And we bring all of that. We got it in our bodies, and we'll bring it all to the monastery, and we co-create. That's the beauty of a monastery. It's not just the monks. It's not just the lay people. We all do it together. So with that, I'll pass it back over to my friend Ajahn Nisabel.
And part of that Clear Mountain Sparkle is something. So we're going to have the board and land development team come on up and share with people. Okay. Alex, please. Okay.
Test it. Okay. So, as this really beautiful cake is finding purchase, I just wanted to speak a little bit about what's been going on with the land. So, over the last 3 months, we've been going through due diligence, and we've been working with a wonderful firm who has like a whole team of specialists. And for the last 3 months, they've been examining the land. They've been conducting environmental assessments, geotechnical assessments, biological assessments, civil engineering assessments, all kind of assessments. And basically, to sum up a 295-page technical memorandum, like, it pretty much checks out.
Clap. You can clap today.
Which, by the way, I didn't even read through the whole thing. That would be Nicole and Peter. So they'll talk more about that a little bit. So basically, this past Monday, our wonderful board here convened and voted unanimously to go ahead with the purchase of the land.
3 big sadhus at that juncture. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And as many of you know who've been on the website recently, the very next morning, a final donation came through that closed the funding gap. So we are now fully funded thanks to the generosity of so many people in this room and on Zoom and around literally the whole world who have given dana. We are now fully funded to support the purchase of the land for Clear Mountain Monastery. So thank you all.
So that's Alex, our wonderful land steward, as many of you know, and she moved across from the East Coast, at least in part, to be with us and to be
100%.
100% to be with us. Okay. So just 3 sadhus for all of that. Yeah. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We're going to be doing a lot of those today. I think we pass now to Allison.
Yes, so I'm Allison, the treasurer for Friends of Clear Mountain. And yes, we filled the funding gap. And also we have over last I checked, 3.3 million in recitations of refuge towards this aspiration. There's a lot more to be done, but we're gonna be good right now because we have land. And I'm just gonna go a little rogue if it's okay. Sorry, but it's just like really hitting me. I've been doing the daily tasks that, as a treasurer for the board the board, and not really realizing, like I just said it this morning, that it's just like the aspiration is now a realization. It's come into it's been realized that we have land. And yes, you might know the story that my husband, Dave, who's not with us today, he's taking care of our dog, Lucy. Thank you, Dave. But he asked me 4.5 years ago if we could have a monk stay in our backyard for 2.5 weeks. And I'm sort of just blown away. And yeah, I don't know, that was my practice, that's when it started, and just hearing a Dhamma talk, and I'm on the board, and doing, just being here with everyone, and there's land. I'm really joyful to be at this moment. It's just, it's still kind of surreal, and I'm just grateful to have a space for these two wonderful monastics and those who might come, and then all the lay practitioners to sit with you. I'm so looking forward to sitting in quietude in the temple, and also working in the garden where there might be a little more talking. I don't know. Okay. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm just so grateful today. So I'll pass it to, I think it's Peter Hummel. Oh, no, it's Steve. Okay, Steve.
Hi, folks. I've got a piece of paper here because my memory doesn't necessarily track everything. So in terms of the donors, I just wanted to say that there's been a team of gratitude stewards that thank donors. Kim and myself and a bunch of other amazing people have been doing this the entire time. So it's just been so heart-moving to see how important this is to people. I mean, we talk to people, we call people up, and there's like, I've talked to a lady in Sri Lanka and Nova Scotia twice, and, we get emails from India and all over the place. So it's just this evolution. And what these monks have been offering, both in person and online, has just been moving the hearts of so many people around the world. So we're all part of this incredible collective. And it's just stunning how much this has meant to so many. And during the purchase process, we deeply held the value and significance that, this $4.63 million was actually donations from individuals, many of whom are, $5, and that's what I can do because I'm on a fixed income. It's every single dollar was very precious. So during the negotiations for Terra, and there was an attorney and just some really skilled people in terms of the actual price that we paid. We were, without being pushy, we were pushy. So we got a good price. We were checking on the pricing in the area. It was very, very carefully done. So I think we can all rest assured that what was being paid for this land is actually a very fair price. And there's also very good relations with the sellers. So it's just been, increasingly good vibes. And by the way, I will say that Forterra and Mal Foster, both commercial, especially Mal Foster's a commercial company, their hearts were warmed over the process of especially working with the monastics, but the whole thing, they really kind of got on board energetically. It's just been wonderful to watch this happen. So just a few other things I wanted to say. I've had the privilege to be on pilgrimage in places in Asia a number of times, sacred places. And it gives you some perspective, because any sacred place you go, that was created by people at a point in time, and then it came to have significance. And this is one of those. The turning of the wheel, the Dharma in the West is really important. When you get to Asia and like in Japan, find out how dried out the Dharma is there, except for in tiny little areas where people are super materialistic in general. What's happening here and the way the Dharma is pivoting into the West is not just like, oh, it's really over there and we're afterthoughts. No, this is really important, and what's happening with the Clear Mountain is really important historically. So I'm convinced that a century from now, this will be looked at as a big pivot point. And so, we're creating history, and when all of us are gone, like as in dead, this will be continuing. This is going to be continuing, and no one will remember, how did this get started? Doesn't matter. This will be continuing and benefiting people for generations and generations. So it's just immensely important. And here at a time of strife in the world, and that's another thing we hear from the donors, is how this is a place of light and love they want to give to, because everything seems so gnarly out there. So what we're offering here and what we're manifesting is enormously important in terms of that. And two more things. And in terms of women and the equality of women in the Dharma, the complete support of full ordination of women that these two monks have manifested out of the blocks, with some pushback and, a little difficulty in the traditional world, they've been doing it. And that has made the harmony, the good vibes. There's now 2 viharas of female monastics in Washington and a third one soon to start in Bellingham, having everything to do with what Clear Mountain is and the incredible welcoming and harmony between the male and female aspects of monasticism. So that is also immensely important. I mean, this is like not happening in Asia. It is happening here. This is it. This is the epicenter of that change. So that's just enormous. And lastly, in terms of some of you know I'm associated with Northwest Dharma Association, so it's 120 Dharma groups all through the greater Northwest, Montana, Alaska, and Western Canada. And this really stands out. And having 90 acres close to a city, I mean, Sravasti has more acres, but it's not close to a city. This is close to a city connecting to an urban area. It's unprecedented, and it's going to ripple through the Northwest Dharma world. It's going to really make a big difference. So amazing things happening here. Who am I passing to next? I don't know who's next.
Peter?
I think it was...
I think we got Peter next for due diligence.
Okay, hello. I'm Peter Hummel, and I have been the owner's rep during due diligence, working with Mal Foster Alonji. And it's been a wonderful experience to work with them and to work with the board and the Ajahns. And I just wanted to, I know I did this last week, but I was asked to do it again, just summarize what was found. So it was a 3-month investigative process to make sure that this land is suitable for the intended purpose of a monastery. So first of all, there's no issues with environmental contamination on the land. Secondly, in terms of the building, the infrastructure, the civil engineering part, utilities, roads, on-site sewage system, all those things checked out as being feasible. And third, in terms of, we talked about the earth this morning. We have geotechnical engineers dig 10 or more test pits and to investigate the suitability of the earth to support buildings, to allow for infiltration of stormwater that runs off of impervious surfaces, and just the stability of the land, because there are a lot of steep areas, and all of those checked out really well. So it's very important, fundamental. And then in terms of some of the factors that we have to really navigate around as we go forward, those include the biological aspects in terms of wetlands and streams, and traffic issues with, how much traffic is generated by this use in a rural area. And that all comes out and gets resolved through the permitting process, which is a federal, state, and local process that we need to get permits through. And we now have a clear picture that that's feasible, but it will be, and we know the path through it. So this process has helped clarify that that's a multi-year process. It has to be integrated with a number of design steps, and we will need professional support to get through that and do it the right way. So I think now I'm going to talk to the map on the screen.
Should we? I think we do. We probably have time. Yeah, do you think it's... Let's do it. Can we pin the map? Great, yeah. Come on up, Peter. And if you want to zoom in on that, Cheryl or Trenton, a little bit,
Stand right
it's going to be a little hard for
behind
people
you.
to see. Ryan, if you're able to zoom in on it at all, or even bring the camera a little closer so it can envision the map on the screen. We'll leave this map up after the gathering so people can come over. We'll have the land and board team near the TV so you can ask them questions and look at the map, which Peter drew without the help of AI. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know if you can just show the upper half, but anyway. Well, first of all, this map is a summary visually of what was found through due diligence. So first of all, east is to the right and west is to the left. And the line down the middle are the two properties. The western one's 40 acres, the eastern one's 50. And there's a number of things about the eastern part that are really important to the monastery, and there's the main access, Cedar Falls Road, is here. It's the lower side of the site, and there's an existing driveway and a new loop road that will need to be constructed in order to gain access to the middle of the site, which is where the monastery development will be located. So there's kind of a beautiful balance with this property between the west side being low and but has all of these wetlands, 6 wetlands and 2 streams, and the eastern side, which is higher and drier and has beautiful views of Mount Si, and the middle where everything comes together in the monastery. And I think as you come into the site, if those of you who've been out there, it's a really beautiful experience to enter through these kind of very vibrant landscape that attracts wildlife. It also prevents flooding and purifies water naturally. And and you enter the monastery that's very secluded by these different environments on either side of it, and secluded from the neighbors. So I'm going to pass it on to whoever else.
It's beautiful, Peter. Peter's a landscape architect and has been key in this process in identifying buildable areas and more. And just to flesh this out a bit, as we've gotten to know the land, the vision of the monastery has kind of evolved with it as is appropriate. So this vision of the eastern half, which is open, we'll leave this up for people. So the vision of this eastern half, which is open, there's alders, birds, sunlight, is where people will come in and we'll have raised boardwalks, raised meditation platforms, Buddha images, the columbarium perhaps, who knows. But this is where people can walk and sit. And it's a bit of a yin and yang, where on the left side, the western parcel, is this sort of beautiful coniferous forest where there's an elk migration corridor that runs through it. And we've seen 3 or 4 herds of elk since we've been there. And that's where we'll scatter the monastic huts. That'll be the monastic center. And it's 40 plus acres. It's a lot of land. And then in the middle, and this is the beauty, is in the middle we have these really large buildable areas. I think this is nearly a 1/4 mile in length. I mean, it looks like a small block, but this is a lot of land. And this is where we're hoping to have, the parking lot for people to park, the multi-purpose hall where people can share a meal, where there'll be the library, the workshop, the garden, and more. And then up here, Peter identified these sort of ridges which overlooks all of it and sees out to Mount Si, and that's where we'll have the temple. Perhaps, this is all, who knows what'll happen, but that might be where the temple is. And that's kind of what's just beginning to emerge in the mind, but we'll, over these next months, begin planning and looking at what will come of this as well. Anything to add, board or land development team? Okay. I think next we have Kim.
So next steps. So closing is for both properties should end by April 30th. It might end sooner. The we have a lot of really beautiful guidance from skilled lawyers and Forterra helping us through the closing process and creating the contracts and the final deed. So we have a really skilled team to help us through that soup, which is underway. And then we will be getting the existing cabin that's there ready for the monastics to live in temporarily. So there might be opportunities to volunteer to help get that suitable for the monastics to move into, which is pretty exciting. We will, of course, then be needing to decide on an architect and a design team and that whole next realm. Lots of things still sort of moving along. And then I guess we build a monastery. So it will be the sort of never-ending process, I think, for a while, but it's also amazing. And just a sort of side note, when the last time I was there, sort of walking the land with Master Ji, and just his beautiful guidance on listening to the land and letting the land really speak to you, and it was really powerful for me. And there was one point where we were walking, and I just started weeping, and I didn't even know exactly why, except that I could just feel the presence of the monastery. Like I really felt like, this is where it is. This is here. Like I could feel its presence already. And woot! I guess that's all I have to say. So thank you so much. Just incredible privilege to be on this path with you. And we did it. We did this part of it, anyway. Now we got to do the rest.
I just want to add on the heading of gratitude. Without St. Mark's, I don't know how we would have done this. And it's just unbelievable that they have made this space available simply for Donna for this entire time. And not only that, I mean, we meet with them once a year. We have a dinner once a year. They're very supportive of the vision, and that in fact they're helping this monastery happen. So in the back, there's 3 cards. There's one for St. Mark's, there's one for Mal Foster, and one for Forterra. And if you all would just go back there while you're eating and stuff and sign thanks, just fill them up with all kind of thank you, whatever, and we're going to mail them to them. So please do that.
I'll quickly open this to the group in a second, but just to tag on to that briefly, many of you know we've carefully structured our organization based on a Biogears model, where we have a lay organization that handles funds and provides expertise and guidance, and that's Friends of Clear Mountain. And then we have a separate parallel monastic organization that doesn't have anything to do with money and is sort of able to remain at a remove from that whole realm. So we've tried to navigate this with real care and never make people feel pressed at all. And that ethos will continue forward. Ajahn Kovalin and I are happy just to live on the land for, as we have a hut apparently, or soon will. And we really will see what manifests. Will continue to meet at St. Mark's for Saturdays for quite a long time, we think, until we can meet on the land. But when we do move, perhaps in June and July, we'll begin having the other days. People can come in the morning. We'll have work parties to create trails, to build platforms, to garden, to kind of create a monastery together. And that'll be one of the most fun parts of this whole thing. And that'll go for as long as we want it to. And we'll just see what happens as faith gathers. Ajahn Kovilo and I are planning to invite our elders and teachers. We hope to get Bhikkhu Bodhi to come, Longpo Pasano, all of our kind of beautiful teachers. Ayananda Bodhi obviously will hopefully visit soon. But we'll just see what evolves over these coming years. May 2nd is our first, hopefully, visit to the land together. It's a Saturday, so that'll be our celebratory visit after closing. And That's all I got. Oh, and one other thing is there's one very important absent member of this team, and that's Anagarika Kema, who was Brianna, who was our land steward for a full year and more through the most difficult part of this whole thing, to some extent, or a part where we were navigating a lot with a different property. And she wishes she could be here, but if we can just do 3 big sadhus for her. She's at Parayana Vihara now, training to be a monastic. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And maybe we can open it up to the team to speak a bit more about any other thoughts that came. We have Susan, our architecture consultant, Hayden, our architecture consultant as well, Nicole, our secretary, and others. Please.
I'll just speak very briefly. When when I carry a bug out of my house, I like to just consider that it's, at least in my cosmology, taken reality 13.8 billion years to create this being, and that I'm descended from beings that are far more modest than it. And like, who knows what it may become in the next 13.8 billion years. And I feel like we're at an extraordinary moment. Like, who knows? Like, it's taken reality 13.8 billion years to create this moment in Clear Mountain. And who knows what it may become. And I just kind of feel awed and privileged.
I'd like to, well, I'm Nicole Jarosinski, board secretary, for those of you I haven't met yet. And I wanted to thank everybody who has volunteered on this project, everybody up here, those who couldn't make it today, like Anagarika Kema, and other people who have contributed to the land search along the way, the prior Secretary Rahul before me, also Sandra, who was a volunteer realtor, got this whole land search started. It's super important. And there's so many other people also who offered their expertise along the way, and we wouldn't be here without all of those people and all of you. So again, thank you.
Sandra's actually here. Sandra, would you stand? No. Nope. Okay. Yes. All right. Let's give 3 sadhus for Sandra too. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You have a home here, Sandra. And to just, before I think others may have something to say, but just to, all the people up here put in days of time. Nicole did read that 300-page thing, plus another 700-page environmental rundown.
It was over 1,000 pages.
Never mind, it's over 1,000 pages. So if we can just, there's so much work that's gone into this moment. If we can just get 3 more sadhus for everyone up here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And the sparkly fingers. Okay, let's get that too. Okay. Susan?
Oh, I just wanted to second that. I have done a lot of due diligence phases in my professional life, and I've just been astounded by the level of commitment and dedication and professionalism of this team and of the consultants. I feel very honored to have played a very small part in this, and super excited for what's to come. As many of you know who've been out to the land, it's a beautiful place and there's so much potential. So this is just a wonderful moment in our beginnings.
Just to say it would be awesome and very weird if the monastery was still here in 13.7 billion years. But I do sincerely hope that all of us do attain Nibbana before then. So sooner the better. Sooner the better.
So what we're going to do now is maybe invite the board and lands team to, everyone could keep sitting here actually, but afterwards, we'll have those who are able come over near the map on the television, and people can just come and ask questions and look at the map and more. But we want to open up the space now for anyone in the audience to just speak about any hopes you have for this monastery or should we open up questions at the same time or save those until after? Not sure either. If you have some hope or aspiration you want to articulate for the monastery, then you can raise your hand. Or if you have questions, that's fine. And we'll have more chances to answer as well. And Ryan will run a mic over to you.
นมัสการพระอาจารย์ I'm from Thailand and grew up in the village near the area where Luang Por Cha was. And I remember when I was childhood to have the feeling of offering the meal to the monastics every day. And the family come out, the children come out to offer and practice generosity daily. And this is real here. It's gonna be like that in Thailand. It's unthinkable. So I'm so sometimes I'm surprised. Ajahn, are you surprised that this is gonna happen here? I'm surprised so much that so much support and so much generosity and even I told people in Thailand, I said 5 million in 5 years that people donate. And it's mostly the new, not from Thailand. Maybe Thailand is different, but here the new people who are interested in the Buddhism and donate this much, and I'm so very happy. No word can explain. Thank you, Ajahn, and thank you for all of your hard work for work hard to have this monastery to make the family of normal Buddhist family to have the feeling like when I was a child. Thank you.
I look forward to the social and economic impacts we'll have on North Bend and to starting the Sunday school. No pressure.
We can just make Anjali to acknowledge each person or hand to the heart either way.
I just want to thank everyone who's had part in this. And I also want to bring up the indigenous people who lived on this land before the current owners and before us, and how many thousands of years they kept this place in a wonderful shape so that here we are now. And I personally don't know the names of those indigenous people, but I'm sure someone does, and maybe we can include land acknowledgements. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. The Snoqualmie tribe is the stewards of the land where we are now going to be, and we're in contact with Bonnie Duran, who's a Dharma teacher and First Nations member as well, and she'll be our liaison to create that relationship.
And please do talk your child to coming in and moving into the monastery with us. He's a monk, so yeah, he's not just a child, he's a monk.
I also was thinking very much about the land and wondering whether there's any talk or consideration of sustainable energy, rainwater catchment, and systems like that. When you mentioned Ajahn, what are our hopes and dreams for how this might progress? That's definitely strong in my mind. So if anyone has any thoughts, would love to hear it.
Yes, we'd like to do that, absolutely. We'll just begin now looking into the design process, but those are key in our minds as well. So thank you, Julie.
And there are something called wooks or Wookiees where you can strap ropes around trees and live in them. Might have small things like that for the monks. So.
We have Gail on Zoom.
Sangvara, Gail. Gail's brother was one of the first assistants for Luang Por Cha, Pabakaro. And their family hosted Ajahn Chah when he was visiting.
So my calendar tells me it's National Daffodil Day, and these were going to be delivered to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha in person today at Clear Mountain. However, Annie, my little dog, has had a bit of a rough weekend last night, so I made the decision to stay home with her. But so I offer these, and I'm so touched by this, and to watch this come to fruition. Well done, everyone. Well done. And I'm just completing my will, and I hope I hang on until the columbarium is available, and because I haven't known what to put into where my ashes should be scattered. So, sadhu, just so touching, and my heart is full.
We don't have as much time as we would wish today because we do need a group photo at the end, but we have another 2 or 3 questions, I think, and then we'll have years to answer more. Carl, in the back. Oh, Matt first.
I look forward to removing the European holly from the property, and Hasachito and I together invite you to join us in that endeavor.
At this time, I just wanted to reflect on the first time that I had heard someone was interested in coming to Seattle, and that was when we were part of a small group that met once a month, Carson's group. And Carson was very excited about this opportunity to help bring monks to the arena. I know Steve was a big part of that also, and I just wanted to reflect back on those names. Thank you.
I may not be around for more than the next year, but even though I might not see the building of the monastery, I am absolutely confident that through the creation of this in the world, we are all as a whole benefiting. And it has been an absolute privilege to spend the last 5 years following you guys around.
Hasachita was part of the first 4-person gathering in Lincoln Park, our first Saturday 5 years ago.
I just wanted to say I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful to everyone who worked so hard on this for so long. It's very, very touching. I was surprised how teary I've been this week. I want to thank Janisabo for going to monk school instead of grad school. And thank you, Gail, for the, my hope is that we're around for the, before we die, to see the temple. But the columbarium, okay, we can, maybe both. Would really love to see things. So happy and grateful.
Okay, all. We'll have more chances to talk. Any Wednesday evening when we have our Zoom sessions, that Q&A can be used to ask questions about the land. That's 7 to 7:45 p.m. Pacific time. We'll also, after Ajahn Kovelo and I emerge from winter retreat in mid-April, we will begin really working to catalyze conversations for people here and elsewhere around connecting to, living in Seattle and nearby is expensive, and we understand that, but we really want and hope that by connecting people with a little bit of help from the Dhamma and the Devas, things can happen that are quite magical. So we'll begin to connecting people so that those all can come, hopefully, into people's possibilities.